Public access on the use of media source. I'm your host, Robert McKenna Gilmore Sr. I've had a number of opportunities to interview some of our distinguished leaders in the community, and certainly tonight is going to be a great opportunity to hear from two of our most noted elected individuals here in the city and the state of Texas. I've got State Representative Ron Reynolds. So glad to see you, Ron.
Hey, it's good to be with you. Thanks for having me.
Yes, it's a blessing. I know you've been on the run. And of
Yes,
course,
sir.
the JY High alumni, Councilwoman, District D, the District of Destination. This is going to be interesting just by itself because I was thinking about updates. There's been so much happening, and let's get it from the state side first. Ron, I mean, it's been quite a bit going on. I mean, you could jump in where you feel like it.
Well, it absolutely has. I mean, certainly, Governor Abbott is in a real pickle right now with his failed leadership. We know that the latest mass gun shooting in Uvalde, Texas, where 19 students and 2 teachers were slaughtered by a senseless gunman that was just 18 years old that bought a AR-15 assault rifle shortly after his 18th birthday. It really highlighted the latest incident where a 18-year-old, someone who can't in this state go buy a pack of cigarettes, or who can't go to a bar and order alcohol, can go and purchase a assault military style weapon, and then unfortunately, tragically, turn it on innocent children and teachers at a school. We've seen this far too often, where unfortunately, we're becoming numb to it. But we need really common sense gun reforms in this state and in this country. There's no reason why we don't ban AR-15 assault rifles. There's no reason why we don't, at a minimum, raise the age to 21 to purchase these guns. There's no reason why we don't implement red flag laws so that we can make sure that people who are mentally ill don't have the ability to go and purchase these weapons. So Governor Abbott and the Republican leadership, unfortunately, has failed our state time and time again. And that is the latest thing. Right now, we're having hearings in Austin. You may have heard some of those hearings, some of the excerpts of those hearings this week. But really, the hearings, they aren't focusing, Brother Gilmore, on common sense gun reforms. They're really a dog and pony show, and it's talking about mental health. Mental health is important, and that should be a part of the solution. But you can't have mental health without addressing the fact that people can easily get a hold of these massive military-style weapons far too easily. It's easier to go and purchase the guns anymore. Permit necessary based on what happened last session, where now we are one of the states that has permitless carry. So only thing you have to do is age, and so there are so many issues in the state, but that's the latest that we're facing right now before our very eyes.
Well, let me put a footnote in there because today the Supreme Court ruled, if I read that correctly, in New York City about uh, the Wild Wild West. The mayor came out and said something about New York not going to be the Wild Wild West. Did they kick it down, or what happened today? Did you
Yeah, the
see that?
Supreme Court repealed the city ordinance that they established on concealed handguns. That the Supreme Court struck it down as unconstitutional. So unfortunately, the city of New York, they're trying to curtail their gun violence, and they're trying to do something to make sure that they put reasonable Second Amendment protections in place. And the Supreme Court, the conservative Supreme Court, struck it down today. And so it was a blow to local control in the city of New York and their efforts to curb their gun violence and the mass shootings that they've been having. So this Supreme Court, just like we've seen when it came to a woman's right to choose, just like we've seen when it came to voter suppression and allowing and ending and hurting the Voting Rights Act of 1965 and so many other things that we've seen the Supreme Court do, they just today in this latest conservative iteration struck down a very reasonable law that was designed and passed by the mayor and council to protect the citizens of New York.
I thought, because I did read, let me go to our Councilwoman Shabazz. New York has some of the strictest gun laws, I believe. How's the city of Houston stand on that? Because I know the governor let everybody have a gun a little while back, September, I think, right?
Well, actually, that's a state issue as well. So you can keep Ron rolling. I did see Ron look to the left when that gentleman walked by his car. And I was like, oh my God, is Ron going to have to pull out his handgun? But at any rate, you can talk to Ron about what's on in regards to open carry actually in the state. That's actually a state issue. A state mandate.
That is. I mean, you know, Brother Gilmore, Governor Abbott and the Republican leadership passed permitless carry, what they like to call fancy is constitutional carry, because they believe the Constitution allows for every citizen in the state to carry a gun, and they shouldn't have to have a permit. They shouldn't have to have proficiency and training and safe storage requirements to go and purchase a gun. This is the playbook from the NRA because it allows for more gun sales. That's really, unfortunately, what it's all about. No one is trying to take away people's Second Amendment constitutional right to bear arms. But when the Constitution was passed by our framers, they had muskets, okay? They didn't have AR-15s. I don't think they had really foresaw in the future hundreds of years later where they had the advanced technology that they have today. They had muskets. Find me a musket today. And I don't know if you can, but the point I'm making is the museum. But the point I'm making is back when the framers envisioned the Second Amendment, I don't think that they envisioned it as an absolute that guns have more rights than human life. We should be able to protect our citizens with reasonable restrictions. Having a background check for a person to purchase a lethal weapon is a reasonable step in order to purchase a lethal weapon. That's like saying, hey, you know what? Yeah, you can drive a car, but don't worry about getting a license. Everyone should be able to drive a car so they can get to work. Well, no, we want people to take a driver's test so we know at least if they got to operate in a motor vehicle, they have some training to do so. And what at least we could do the same thing, if not more, for a person who lethal weapon that has the ability to kill. And so these people that use AR-15s, I haven't found a hunter yet that goes hunting with an AR-15. Not one single hunter have I met. That is an assault weapon that is used to kill mass number of people. It is not for hunting. So don't give me those Second Amendment baloney about AR-15. Those should be for the military and for the police, but they should not be for 18-year-old citizens in this country.
No, I was a medic in the service, and I don't tell people to take it lightly because I saw the results. Minister Charles X. White, one of our community leaders, has one of the largest civic club breakfasts here in the city, in the state probably, if not the country. And nobody feed people biscuits and bacon and sausage the way you do. You had a packed house last time, couldn't even get in. What are your people saying? I know you got civic clubs, Gazoo. What are they saying? What is that an issue, the crime issue out there? Because even since the Uvalde, we've had what 30 or 40 shootings since then. I mean, this thing is out of control. What are the people saying from the community?
I'm gonna give you an example.
Hmm.
6 or 8 weeks ago, we called people on our list for our Monday night teletown discussions. And this particular Monday night, 6 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago, the topic was crime. So one of the callers that I was talking to, getting feedback from what the people were saying about were they gonna be on the call, what did they think about the subject. So this one lady responded, I'm not gonna get on the call tonight. I've been living with crime all my life. Them people gonna do what they wanna do and the politicians gonna do what they wanna do. I'm not wasting my time on no phone call about no crime. So that's 6, 8 weeks ago. I guess my throw in comment with the subject that's been discussed that I was able to hear is first at all government, departments, candidates, elected officials. My question would be, when was there a time that a comprehensive program to combat this initiated? Now, all the money that they sent to Ukraine, all the money that they sent to Japan, all the money that they sent to all the countries to help them rebuild and to have some semblance of stability and future and hope, there has nothing been done that I know of to address the needs in America, and particularly Black America. The number one issue driving drugs and crime is money. Instead of us having a comprehensive vocational program going back to at least 1980. I mean, it was in place in 65, 75, but if we go back to just doing what was working in the 60s and the 70s, just go back to it in the 80s, we would have people that are able to make money without having a pistol. So I see a failure in government, departments and elected officials not coming together collectively and creating a program. Now, we'll create a program in a minute for this and that, but when it deals with the real hard issue of crime, murder on the street with our people, we don't have a champion. We don't have champions. And it's not that they don't have the intellectual and that they don't have the data that looks at trends, histories, solutions. And my example would be the Kerner Commission report done in '68. All the recommendations that were given to the Lyndon B. Johnson by the Kerner Commission, one of the comments that goes with that is that even though they wanted to know what caused the riots, what fueled the riots, and what could be done from preventing it in the future, they did not fund any of it. After they got the answer, they did not fund any of it. So what's the point? we talk about crime, we talk about the youth and this and that, but we're not giving the youth the ingredients to wholesale change the behavior. It's mental health issues before crime. Crime is just a crowning moment in a series of issues.
That's true.
So that's my comment.
That's interesting. Come on, Dr. Shabazz. I know you have a thought.
You know, good afternoon, good evening, actually.
Okay.
You know, actually, Charles X. White is speaking to the choir because I push education everywhere I go. I actually let people know that, you know, academia is fine, you know, the bachelor's, the master's, the doctorate, all of that. But I believe that vocational surpasses that need. I believe that a person who accesses vocational expertise, first and foremost, they make more money than people in academia because they have a skilled trade. So, you know, that was one of the things that I really, really was happy to be a part, why I was happy to be a part of the Houston Community College, because that is what the Houston Community College basically is about. They do have academia, but at the same time, there are a lot of vocational opportunities. I mean, even people with vocational certifications, they can become entrepreneurs. And, you know, a mechanic, I can't imagine living without a mechanic. My AC person, especially this time of year, just people who engage, electricians, plumbers, you know, all the full gamut of vocations. So I certainly agree. And, you know, back when we were in school, Reverend Gilmore, you know, we had a vocational role, so to speak. You could leave the main building and walk down, going towards the back gate, so to speak. And you had everything. You had printing, you had cleaning and pressing, you had auto mechanics, you had cosmetology, you had things basically that if we had to become a village, we would have somebody that could engage in those things that could keep us moving. But I try not to go here, but I think that there were too many African Americans that were able to engage in these particular vocations. And at some point, the district ran out of money to be able to offer them. They no longer employed the teachers who did it. And so at that point, you had to turn to the Houston Community College for them to be able to come in and educate the students. But we lost a lot. And we even, I believe personally, we lost a lot when we, you know, we wanted great facilities. We deserved them. But what happened was we were doing well, because I always say that my high school class or any of my classes could compete with anyone. Right. But then we decided that we needed to cross over, as they called it. And then our students started going to the white schools, and the white teachers came to our schools. And let's just say the white teachers had a difficult time with classroom management. And at that point, it just blew up. And, you know, the students who were familiar with the teachers looking like them, who more or less were obedient in the classes and really tried to engage and learn, just went in a whole new direction. You were there. Well, you may have barely missed it, but I know it may have been your senior year. But I know my 10th, 11th grade year, the whole face of the school changed when they changed our teachers. And we were raised as a village, where you would run into your teacher at the grocery store. And you certainly wouldn't want to be with one of your parents if you ran into a teacher at the grocery store and you had not done your homework or done what you needed to do. So by trying to immerse ourselves in a different culture, we basically lost our own culture, so to speak, in regards to being able to get the kind of education that we were accustomed to.
Right.
That's just the bottom line. And so I don't know how we get back to that, because it's really off the chain now. The educational system is just, and that is the basis. And here again, I don't necessarily push Dr. Lawyer, Indian chief. So I those things that can help our families to engage economically. And, because what's happening is we're not getting the education, then we're going into these jobs that don't want to even pay you $15 an hour, which means that you either got to get 2 or 3 jobs, or you have to turn to that life. You know what I'm saying? And that's what disturbs me, because if we were offered, we're smart people, and we can learn. A friend of mine's mother wrote the Learner's Creed. All children can learn. I believe that. You may not learn in the same way.
Right.
You may be better in other things than other people, and vice versa. But there is a place for you. There was always a place for you. Now we've been displaced. And, it's, they're talking about, special ed and special ed that. We had students that had learning disabilities and challenges, but guess what? They were right in there with us.
Right.
Right in there with us. Learning, they may have been a little slower with grasping the information, but generally because we kind of liked each other, so to speak, we helped each other to navigate, to pass the tests and to learn the material. But now it's changed. It's changed, and somewhat special ed has somewhat been used as a crutch that has not allowed our students to really advance. And I say this because my background, I test special ed children. That's what I did as an educator, and I saw how some of them, they may have been better in other things. And I say, when you're good in something, somebody needs to encourage you in that.
That's right.
You may not be the best mathematician.
That's right.
Okay? But you may be really good with your hands and making things and manufacturing things. And there's a place for you. But I think we lost a generation too, because we started pushing academia. We started pushing kids to go to college, pushing them to go to college. Some of them got there and they became frustrated. And then that was the end of the line for them. And so rather than us embracing differences and allowing people to prosper where they could, we kind of shunned people who didn't go to college. It was like, you didn't go to college, so people started to treat you differently, because you didn't go to college. Well, how about you the best mechanic that ever lifted a car? How about you're the best at this? And I think that once we realize that we need to respect people and what they bring to the table, because it's so vital. Like I said, I can't fix anybody's car. I can go in there and check the oil, but that's about as far as I can go with it.
I don't know. Sometimes the oil sticks are different too.
I'm sorry?
The oil sticks are different now.
Okay, I maybe can't do that, right?
That's right.
So I'm saying we really need to get back to respecting everybody for what they bring to the table, and let people move in a direction that they have a passion for. Because I do believe that if you have a passion for something, you also perform differently. And so, I really don't know. I mean, I'm no.
Well, you know what you made me think about. I was watching an old movie, and I had the Booker T. Washington. Y'all remember Booker T. Washington and what was his name? The Tuskegee. Yeah, they had the debate. You remember?
Oh, yeah.
The talented 10th. And the whole idea was 10% would be toward leadership and the 90% would have skills. That's what, he was talking about. And I thought about that because of the destruction of unions and different types of programs in the state, and how many people haven't gotten that instruction. Because we're just in 2020.
I actually engaged with some union workers, I guess this was about 3 weeks ago. And it's still a situation where if they work for the union, the company doesn't treat them in the same manner because they're angry that they are unionized. And so it's just very challenging, because they came to me because they're in negotiations and they wanted to see if I would reach out to people who could impact their contract. And I did that, and in fact, I'm getting ready to reach back to find out, the status of that, all of that, because, a lot of us, when we run for public office, we try to go get these union endorsements and whatever. Well, what about when they call on us? Do we shy away and say, I don't want to handle that? Well, I dare say that if I don't do that, then I have no business sitting in front of your body asking you to endorse me for anything. If I can't take a stand and help you to be able to advance those things that are helping your workers have a better life, then I shouldn't even have the audacity to come to you and say, will you support me for office? And I feel very strongly about that because I could have evaded them and said, oh, I don't have time. That's not in my wheelhouse. That's not people that I, normally engage with or whatever. You can think of all kinds of excuses. But the bottom line is we have a responsibility. I kind of stay in my lane for the most part, but we have a responsibility to reach out and help other people who have put us in places to be able to help them to navigate.
That's true. I was curious. I know Ron might be gone, but I was curious about that because Charles, you and I have worked in the past with these various union programs. I remember I was thinking about Bill when she said that. And how do you see the need to engage with these union people to be more objective in finding people that they know need to be in the training cycles, coming up the line?
Well, y'all have put so much on the table. I hope I can get to everything in a chronological order. First thing I want to say is no doubt that the best of the smartest of Black people, strategically, union-wise, whatever, we are in a difficult situation. That's number one. I'm gonna put that on the table. I don't care what I might say or somebody might say as a solution. Going through the experiment at the time, because America is supposed to be the great experiment.
Right.
But going through the experience that we have gone through in America, whatever we come up with is hard to try to comment in a way that it looks at the good, the bad, and the ugly because we are so sensitive to correction. There's a period, there's a 10 to 20 year period from 1975. If you go 1975 backwards, we were doing great.
Right.
From 1975 to 1995, we hit the pits. And all of those entrepreneurs, educators, business people, all of them that were making it, like Mac Hanna or whoever else, those people that really worked hard and achieved a lot. As that was happening, we were falling away as a body of people that, like every other nation on this planet, we stopped doing business with each other. It appears that one argument could be presented that segregation is the only thing that forced us to do business together while we've been over here. Because as soon as the other doors open up, we forgot about everything. So looking at when vocation was started leaving the high schools, it transitioned into you had to pay for it at a community college or get the skill in the penitentiary. So how did it segue from a high school program? So all of those parents, all of those entrepreneurs and leaders, nobody came together to say this is a bad move for us because in 20 years, we're gonna not be in demand for what society needs. No visionary looks were organized to combat what might have been a sadistic public policy shift to put us in a situation. And when I get to thinking about people learning different ways, and I think there's a learning scenario called multiple intelligences. With multiple intelligences, that catches the children whatever they like, whether they're academic, music, vocational, you go from where they are. Wherever they are, take them from there forward. What happened to that? What happened to that strategy? Did a new strategy replace an old working strategy? Obviously, something happened. So from 1995 to this day, where is the critical analysis, comprehensive look at how do we stabilize? How do we take fifth graders right now? And in 7 years, those fifth graders have raised the bar of understanding and then increased our chances of wholesale community success. Where is the task force? Where's the blue ribbon? And they always want to do a study, but all the studies already been done. Where's the funding and the programs to do what the research said would work?
Okay, I want to suggest something that some people may not know, because something that Charles X. White just said about having to pay to go to community college. Well, after you graduate from high school, yes, you do have to pay to go to community college or get a grant or whatever. But while you're in public school, you can access community college with no charge. Some people don't know that. Knowledge is power. You know, the community college also engages with early college, high school. And some students are graduating with associate degrees. When they walk across the stage for the ISD, they walk across the stage for the CCs, community college, with an associate's degree. And what does that mean? That means that they only now have to pay for 2 years to get the 4-year bachelor's degree. Now, I do suggest that there may be some limit in terms of maturity, you know, because now you are 2 years from college graduation and you are 18 years old or 16 or 17 years old from the time that you graduated high school. But financially, it's a great thing to be able to get 2 years of college behind you on the public dollar. But here again, I'm going to go back to my point regarding the vocational piece. You can now the community colleges, when they offer things on the campus, the high school campus, such as Jack Yates had Maritime, I think Austin High School had Maritime, and you could actually graduate from those programs with certifications that can help you to go get your TWIT card and those things to help you go to the port. But a lot of people don't know that. They don't know that as a high school student, you can go and enroll in HCC and you can start working towards a vocational track and still be on the public dollar. But that's not widely known. And so certainly what you're saying, if you got to go pay for it when you get out of college, that could be a challenge. But there are some avenues to having some things, to attaining some things on the public dollar. But a lot of times people don't know it.
Well, in that case, and in that regard, that to me falls on the district and the community college not to have a marketing campaign, especially your chancellor right now. He does a lot of marketing, but it ain't like that. And it's not aimed at the Black community from that standpoint.
Well, I think
my point was this. My point, wait a minute. My point was this. It's not that dual college credit and college credits and access in high school. I think that's about 15 years old now, dual college credit, the way they shifted that part to help increase graduation rate. I understand the concept, and it's a good one. It helps. But what I was speaking of is the wholesale, strategic, systematic approach into opening the door wider and creating information sites so that the grandmother would know that you can do this. So when you say there's an information vacuum, then you have to look at the institution that has the service, but not getting the message out.
Well,
and now you're talking about two generations.
Right. Let me say this. First and foremost, the community colleges do push information out about the early colleges. You know, they do push that information out. But I'm going to say this. The students are actually in the ISDs. They have the captive audience. They should take on the onus of making
whoever. I agree. I think,
you know, so I don't want to say, because the community college and the chancellor, yes, they do marketing. They do, but they mostly market regarding those students that are going to come out with associate degrees. But
you have a feeder pattern.
Children, if you have the there with you, and they're with you in the majority of the day, then I believe that the ISDs should have the onus of letting them know what's available.
That would be like this. HISD gets 76.2% of their budget from property taxes. They get 22% from the state budget and 4% from the federal government. Now, if I use that formula, that's still a feeder pattern of everybody got something in the game. And as far as a coordinated effort on the money. So they coordinate their effort to pull the money out. But let's get the information out.
I agree.
The ISDs should be in partnership with the 2-year college and the 4-year college in dealing with outreach.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm saying. So absolutely. Where is the champion that's creating that has been working on it for 4, 5, 6, 7 years, and that's in a position? Because you got to have the right elements in a position to pull that together. And I'm saying it has not happened since 1975.
I don't consider myself to be a champion, but I do put it out there.
The definition of champion don't mean that you're the Lone Ranger. The definition of champion means that you take ownership of a cause. Not that you're
Right.
the biggest, the best, but your ownership inspires people to join in that effort to save the education system for Black children or whatever.
Really in my wheelhouse anymore. But even though it's not in my wheelhouse, I certainly, just because I just said it to you, it's not something that I keep under a bushel. I do give the information out, but you know, I think the onus is on the ISDs and the community colleges. And certainly I can have these conversations to say, when are y'all going to market this so that people will know that they can engage in this? Because to me, that's going to be the only way that we're going to recapture the great times that we had before, with the vocational trades being at the forefront. Because I'm gonna tell you this, I gotta, you know, I have the academic degrees, the terminal degrees, but I also feel like you have to be more prepared. And I have a vocational as well. I'm a real estate broker. And so that was a vocational track for me. So I felt like I needed to not only go the route of academia because of what I wanted to attain in the academic arena, but I also felt like I needed to do the vocational piece, so that really right now that's, you know, something that I can engage in for another stream of income. And so I try to tell people, don't just do one thing, you know, try to, you know, you may want to get this college degree or whatever, but always have yourself in a position where you can take care of yourself with another stream.
You know what I was thinking about when y'all were engaged? I was thinking about my wife is involved with the AKAs, as you can see, the college prep program, admissions process. And it's really, we so sophisticated nowadays. It's not like when my dad just gave me a shovel and told me to come lay these bricks. I was thinking about that because of how the kids are exposed today, you know, these apps and phones and things like that, the technology. But I know my mind went back. I read an article once. China tests children by the millions before the third, fourth grade to find out if they got the capabilities. And once they find out they got the capabilities, they send the ones that's going to be rocket scientists off to the rocket science school. They send the others to where they need to be, you know, because they got so many people. And I think for some societies that don't have that, that's what cripples them. And that's leading to what I consider the next thought that I wanted to put on y'all's head was so many people have anxiety with their children, when they, you know, they families and they kids ain't got nothing to do. They create something off the internet, doing donuts in the middle of the street, and what's the name of the game? I don't know. We don't play it, but Call of Duty. They got the little game to play. That game came out, y'all, and made over $2 billion in sales in 2 weeks. It's just a game, you know. So these kids are creating this, what Zuckerberg is calling a new, what is it, a metaverse. It's going to be a new world order of consciousness towards how you learn. And so, and you know, you got more and more people who have the basic needs, like the ones who down at the border are waiting to get in. I mean, you know, come on now. Some people, they don't care about no computer game. They just want a hamburger, or, you know, a place to stay, you know, and they'll do anything. You've always had that order, you know, the triage of, we were there once, as both of y'all saying. But what's creating this anxiety where people, you know, feel like they got to just somebody having a party, if they told you couldn't come, you're going to go and shoot up everybody. And you get married to somebody and y'all dating and y'all divorce, and they come back 3 weeks later, they want to, shoot you and the baby and everybody. I mean, there's a lot of people living in dream worlds out here. Y'all understand what I'm saying? And we created this. It's not real. I know both of y'all have heard different scenarios, but what do you think is a major, solution? How we need to address that? Is it more church, more therapy? The governors say we need more therapy, but we already number 50, so they ain't got no money for them. They ain't got no money for no therapy.
Well, the family structure has changed a lot. I came up, I had both parents in my household, and I saw them as role models. And I had, 4 grandparents. I saw them as role models. But we had structure and discipline in my house. I think that that's not necessarily what's going on now. For whatever reason, a lot of grandparents are raising their children, and a lot of parents are trying to be friendly and friends and hang out and shake it fast with their children. And the whole structure has changed. So I don't think children carry the same respect for authority that we used to. We knew the boundaries in our homes, basically. And now it's a totally different situation. And so I think that because of that, when things happen and they don't go your way, because you don't respect the structure, you don't respect the answer you got, you don't respect the discipline or the boundaries, then you tend to do things to buck that. Okay? You're mad, and then, they say these video games, because some of them are so violent, they say sometimes our children are desensitized to that. And they don't realize that when you shoot somebody, on TV, they end up on another show. But in real life, they end up in the ground.
Right.
And I'm just thinking that it's a totally different mindset, and so because we have a totally different mindset, back when I was coming up, they had guns. And I don't remember AK-47s and all of that, but it was certain things that we knew not to do. We knew not to mess with your parents' guns. That's not the case now. And so now, because there have been no boundaries, it's incumbent that the governmental system, I believe, enact boundaries. Because, you can't necessarily control mental illness, but you can control access to a firearm. You can control, and maybe not a handgun, but you certainly can start to outlaw AK-47s and those weapons of mass destruction. But for some reason, people are more inclined to support people who think that there should be no boundaries or no governmental, they don't want the government involved in some things, yet they want the government to tell you how to regulate your body. It's like, I will pick and choose what I want the government to do. And so, I'm just dismayed myself, because I was just listening, to some of the things that came out of the GOP convention, where they are still talking about the election of Joe Biden was illegitimate and he's an acting president. I mean, what did Donald Trump do to the minds of Republicans and Americans. I don't get it. I mean, I've always respected Republicans. I'm a staunch Democrat because I believe in what, for the most part, you know, what Democrats stand for. But I've always had a respect for Republicans. I just thought that they just had a different perspective. They maybe even served a different socioeconomic class of people. But I never thought that they were certainly irrational, irresponsible, and almost ignorant.
Yeah.
And now, when you're sitting here, no proof whatsoever, sure, anything that man has something to do with leads an opportunity to be corrupt. Let's just be real. So certainly you have some situations where people may have tampered with some ballots and things of that nature. But let's say we have welfare fraud. Are you throwing out the welfare system? I don't think so. And why? Who's the predominant race in the welfare system? And because there are more Caucasians,
right,
I would tend to believe that it's more Caucasians in the welfare system.
There is more.
You know, they were selling food stamps, using other people's cards, all everywhere, all the time. But you're not talking about throwing that system out, okay? But you find some incidents where there's somebody who may have put an X on their grandma's card, or even somebody got somebody that was dead. I'm not condoning it, but certainly I don't think that it has risen to the occasion that you want to throw out a whole earth, you know, but
that's crazy.
And then you preclude a lot of people who tend to vote, a lot of disabled people, you throw them out of the system. And so are you trying to throw them away?
No.
They
don't want you to vote. They don't want you to vote at all.
No. Do you want to vote?
They don't want you to vote.
They want to throw them away.
They don't want you to vote.
They want to throw them away. Or are you
they don't want you to vote.
For them to participate in the system?
No, they don't want you to vote. Y'all done voted Obama in. You voted all these black mayors in, and they tired of y'all. Mr. White, what's your, I know you done seen this from an anxiety perspective over the years. That got to be nerve-wracking. What did the Honorable Elijah Muhammad say about that? I'm gonna go with that far back.
Oh, Lord.
Well, you have to know yourself, God, and time.
Yourself, God and time.
Right. Now, with those three elements, that will give you a foundation. What time and what must be done follows that. And then how can you advance and integrate and matriculate if you don't know who you are?
Right.
If you don't know who you are, then you become somebody else through assimilation. So you all messed up. I don't have really no comment on your last question because there's so much to it. You know, it's like, I think I said the last time we were on the air, any point that you start from on the exterior or the extremity and peel the onion back to the center.
Right.
There are many, many places for you to start from and peel back to the center. Everybody doesn't have to have the same idea, but if they're going for the same objective, they can get there from their perspective.
Right.
So you don't have to talk about me because I'm doing it this way. Just do it your way and I'll meet you in the middle at the end when we get to the finished product where we're supposed to go. So I just think that we are fragmented. The masses of Black people have been trained to obey, coupled with that anxiety of trying to support your Black leaders that's elected or otherwise identified as a leader. And then you got another stimuli of anxiety when you see schools closing in your neighborhood, no grocery stores, no jobs, housing is getting worse than it was. It's like an average.
Don't forget the gas. Don't forget the gas.
15.4% of housing is in the Black community, 27 point something, the white community, and 27 point something for the Black community. That gap has always been there. It's been the education gap, always been there. The income gap, always been there. The wealth gap, always been there.
Always been there.
So I just, some things you just hear and you just raise your hand up and go back to work. That's what I do. I try to go back to work.
Of the housing.
Back to work.
In terms of the housing piece, I am really, really trying to get affordable homes, single family homes, as well as affordable complexes for people in my district. Because one of the things at the end of the day, I don't want people to say that we wanted to stay and you didn't do anything to help us do that. And so I know that gentrification is real. I know what the makeup of Third Ward was when my family moved here.
Right.
And of course now, as a broker, I know that a lot of times when the houses go up now, then they are purchased by Caucasians because they can afford it. And so, because the prices are overinflated. And then, of course, we have other things that lead to gentrification, which is the high taxes, all of that. So my charge is to try to keep things affordable. But at the same time, affordable can be somewhat abstract. Okay, what's affordable for me may not be affordable for you, but it's a whole system that has.
Well, Gilmore, let me say this at the end. In 1980, when housing caught my attention, Joy Fitzgerald was over the Housing Authority. Right. One of the main issues back then was affordable housing. Why are we still talking about affordable housing in 2000?
Ladies and gentlemen, that's it. That's it. Funny. I want to say thank y'all. Thank y'all very much.
We're
going to have to do it again.
Okay.
This has been Public Affairs, Public Access.
Have a good day. Good evening.
Hey, wonderful job.